Hey, what's up? It's your boy Randall. Um, Not that I would expect anybody to follow up with what I'm doing or whatever, but the computer that I had got fucked up, and luckily, given I was letting Liz use the laptop, she told me to try to use it, see if I was able to do certain things such as watch shows and whatnot, and be able to still live and chat here and there. And man, all my games was on it. My Steam was on it, I just got back into working into a kitchen since we came out here, and I wanted to try and do a personal chef journey that I've been promising myself for years, but I never got around to it due to personal trauma, which is why I figured, since I'm saving money, we'll figure out what we're gonna do. But I guess it's just a part of life. It is what it is. You get that one little kick in the ass that's like, hey, this is the real world. Which, the Liz says different, but the computer was not what was preventing me from doing anything. The computer was my escape with certain personal, mental, and there's just a lot of personal shit that goes on. Nobody's life is perfect, but I'm not trying to say too much, but my life is not. My life is literally the shade of this fucking filter. It's hard to find color into anything, and excuse me. But you know what I'm saying? It's when the computer got fucked up, I lost all that. And it's just been a fight trying to get all this shit together since we came out here. And here's a little bit of a review since coming around, right? Uber fucking sucks. It'll work out here or whatever, but you're literally waiting so fucking long. My bad. You're literally waiting so long. And when you do get whatever, it's like maybe $5, $10, maybe possibly $15, but you have to drive like 30, 35 minutes out just to deliver this fucking order, whatever it may be, right? Now the problem is that since we've gotten here, trying to get shit fucking situated, paying the bills and whatnot, first things first, obviously. You try to sit there and think that a fucking Uber service, I had DoorDash, but, DoorDash got fucked up. Look, I got this, I don't know if y'all can tell, but maybe not in this gray and black and white filter, but I've got this scar here from this motherfucker, bro, that tried to, um, long story short, man, this dude thought he was going to snatch a fucking dash from me when it wasn't his, and I proceeded to beat his ass, and he hit me good with I don't remember what it was. He hit me with something, but anyway, I'm not trying to tell long stories or whatever, but like I think that had a lot to do with why I lost the DoorDash, and this was like a couple months back. But when I had DoorDash, bro, I was fucking platinum, right? Like I was getting orders right and left. And the one thing that I've noticed, and I guess it's a part of life again, is everybody fucking uses DoorDash out here when I lost mine. And I don't know. And then I have Instacart or whatever, but my personal experience with that, batches and whatever, it ain't worth it. It's not worth it. It ain't never been worth it. Um, I think DoorDash is where it's at. I mean, we can try. I mean, me and Liz both here lately been trying to make Uber work, and I know that I'm finally close to my payday, but it's. Oh, I mean, I'm just trying to share. And it's hard for me to talk my whole life. I can't think right. Me hitting these loopers probably don't help anything. I think a big part of of my issue that I'm going through right now is that the, I explained this to somebody in chat that fucking Semper was my inspiration for wanting to do carefree entertainment, and that's because okay, what it was when I was little, they used to have these game magazines where it would have a demo disc in them. Well, at one time there was something called PlayStation Underground, and they would have these behind the scenes like sneak peeks, like how tos type shit. And one of my personal favorite ones that has always stuck with me was, I think his name was Sawu, but he was a game developer, he was a game tester, And I think the game in this scenario that he was playing was Grand Theft Auto 3. And he, if I remember right, he was showing you that if you sat in a taxi and you turned the mini game on where you pick pedestrians up for money or whatever, but you hold if you hold both joysticks down and you get out of the car, his point was that as long as you hold the joysticks down to look behind you, and you go to another vehicle, let's say you wanted to commit Grand Theft Auto on a van because it's more room, more pedestrians. You hit triangle, you get in the car or whatever, and then you let go of the joysticks, and the taxi mini game will still play. You're just in a different vehicle. It was one of those like early glitches type thing, you know. And I remember telling my mom, I was just like, because I've always talked to myself out loud. I still do now. A part of me videoing, I guess, is a form of it. I don't have any other way to let anything out. And gaming and videos and ghost hunting. You know, my PC was everything, and it crashed, and I'm just kind of upset. But I remember, you know, telling my mother when I was little, I was just like, it'd be cool if you could get paid playing video games one day. And and this was like, this was before, I mean, this was like, let me see what percentage. This was like 2003, 2002, 2003, and then because YouTube didn't become a thing until 2005, I think, and I was in fifth grade then. You know, so and the earliest memory that I could think of when it comes to like seeing people on YouTube game, like watching gaming videos or whatever, and it wasn't anybody in particular, but a lot of it was when people were playing the game Fear, which is one of my favorite first-person horror games, where a lot of people literally that was like the earliest scare reaction deal when all this shit started. But I still always remembered Saw. And then, like my mom before me, my mom was always on a computer. She was always in an AOL chat room. And I think it just kind of runs deep. Like, I'd often thought of making movies. I can make movies if I wanted to, but it's just getting back into having the money to do certain things and people that are willing to whatever. But I thought about making two movies where one of them literally would have been based on my mother and the AOL, and then her showing me AOL Red, and and then the sequel would have been about me growing up with her and then doing the same shit, because I don't know, it's just always been a thing. Excuse me. But and I still want to be a horror author. I do still have the writer in me, but a lot of that kind of got destroyed. Guys, I'm gonna put it like this, man. It's been hard for the past like 5 or 6 years, where it's literally been like nonstop. You think that you get to a certain point, and then you're literally taking like 4 or 5 steps back, like, and I'm just sick of fucking dealing with this. I want to change it, and I think the point that I'm trying to get to is that me and Liz both have finally gotten to a point where we found a way or whatever, but it's always like I got second shift and she got first shift, and but it's waiting. But I've been working, like, it's just waiting for that check again, and in this case scenario, I don't know when we're going to get paid, and and as you can see, my mind works in a fucking circle where I'm just, and I think the reason that my mind works in a circle like this is because my only way to deal with shit, if it, like as a parent, to make sure that everything's functioning, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's gonna come or whatever, but it's just, how do you make something work when your car is fucking shit? Which, to be fair, the car is a 4.0. It will never die. You gotta thank the Marlboro Man for that. Um, that was my Aunt Mary's car. My great Aunt Mary. And I believe in symbolisms of things, and I often wonder why that car is still here. I'm pretty sure that it's a metaphor for something. I'm just too clouded. My mind's just too clouded to even start reading the clues anymore. Um, I've been wanting to give myself. I wanted to go to therapy, but there's this fear of going to therapy because I don't trust people. And the health insurance that I have is Anthem. And I, there's never a point, like, I need a dentist. I need I thought about doing, therapy online where they talk like, and what was great about it and what caught my attention about it was the fact that they accept Anthem, but then it would have to be a deal of waiting until like late, knowing that everybody's asleep to even talk to somebody. I like the job that I have at work, given it's just a normal fast food restaurant, but my employer is like 4 or 5 different fucking places, and one of them is another place that is actually my style of restaurant. And I figured I'm gonna try to do maybe 6 months where I'm at, maybe push a year. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about saving money right now to go back home to Carefree. And you gotta have the money to get the right shit to haul shit home. You know? I mean, it just is what it is. And, I do miss I do miss having my station with my old job. I've had a downfall, and I think I often wonder if a lot of it is because it was a transition of coming from my 20s into my 30s. And the whole therapy aspect is because there are certain things that I am not proud of that I cannot take back. That I think about all the time. And I think, and I think, and then I think so much that really all I'm doing is I'm just running sparks at this point. The kind of depression where you can't do anything but sit there absent minded. Like I'm easily aggravated, I'm easily irritated. Check the percentage. We're good for a minute. And I just, I started having I started having interest in the patterns that I'm seeing in front of me in the universe and how I connect and form shit with things that mean a lot to me, such as the books and the games that I've read and played and all that. Excuse me. It's hard to understand, it's hard to explain, but The reason that I took the name Carefree was because, which goes back into thinking. I'm going to try to find a way to get this all out before this dies. I'm from New Albany, Indiana. I'm from the southern part of Indiana. All right, and maybe this might be a little bit of a backstory that I can come up with as far as your boy Randall. Yo, but I'm from the 812. You know what I'm saying? And I was always right across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. The only New Albany was, well, New Albany is exactly what I think would describe me and makes me. And there's a little bit of country. When I was a baby, if I understand right, you know, it was literally starting out in a fucking trailer for mom in the woods somewhere in the back part of the property behind her mom's house, which my grandmother's house at the time was literally a maze of trailers, and that to me is a mansion. I would love a fucking maze of trailers on my own property, and I think that's the country part of me. Because if there was any form of a fucking childhood from early on, I remember sitting on the front porch with my grandmother, looking out into the woods, waiting for them animals to go, ooh. The silence and the echo, you know. But at the same time, being a little kid, I was traumatized by horror movies that most people say that I probably shouldn't have seen, but I'm a horror fanatic because of it. I don't regret nothing. My favorite horror movie of all time, I still say, is The Blair Witch Project. And I think The Blair Witch Project has a lot to do with why I like being out in the country more. But there was shenanigans. You know, you had Bloods over here, you had Crips over here. You had it, you know, the closest thing to fucking like Aryan Brotherhood, I guess, were bikers that come around. But not all bikers were like that. When I grew up, I mean, I was a street kid. You know, I was that white boy. But I think I was more about bikes, along with my mother, who had one. Which that's another thing that I'm upset about, because I never ended up having the fucking opportunity to have a motorcycle. But you better bet your ass that soon I'm gonna have that too. You got me fucked up. But yeah, like in New Albany, I mean, it was New Albany's like, it's a mix of all kind of people and all kinds of cultures. You know what I'm saying? And I was one of those white kids that was picked on. And I ain't gonna front about it. I kind of had to learn the hard way. Me and brother man did. And there was a east side and a west side and a south side and a north side in New Albany. North side was basically the knobs, which is where all the rich people were at. You 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 literally had like a fucking little Vegas strip in New Albany off of I think it's called State Street. but then there's a city next to New Albany called Clarksville. That's got like a little Vegas strip to it too. But there is a fucking childhood memory that I do remember, which it was the closest thing that I had seen to an '80s mall, and this was like in the late '90s before they took it away, or well, shit, early 2000s actually, because I played Tomb Raider on the PS1 growing up too, and Mom seen that Tomb Raider was coming out, and she took me to the theater, and it had an underground parking lot and all that. Anyway, it was a two-story fucking mall, and I love all the '80s and the dark music and shit. My mom says it's not because of her, but it is. Again, this is just shit that I've been thinking about a lot, because I am in an area that I do not familiarize myself with at all, unless I absolutely have to. And anyway, getting off track, the reason that I took the name Carefree was because along the way I ended up making this fucking alter ego throughout my life called Chili Frost. I used to be able to rhyme words, and that was going to be my name. I was fucking Chili Frost, you know what I'm saying? And I was that white boy that could spit bars a little bit. I can't no more, but and I had the whole face paint deal, fucking, insane clown posse. Much clown love to any juggalos that might watch this or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Like, fucking. But when I had my face paint on or whatever, Mom told me I looked like a sad clown. And I'm a big fan of the horror character from Stephen King's universe, Randall Flagg, who I took the name for as my chat name in chat rooms. So, and plus the fact that Indiana is full of corn. He who walks behind the rose, that's me, you know. But like when I came out to fucking Leavenworth, which is Carefree, Indiana, and that's like an hour. Well, hell, that ain't even an hour away from New Albany. I didn't know until later on that Leavenworth used to be called Carefree, and Carefree is exactly where I chose to be my home. And if there's a way I'm going to have a house or property or something back there, then we had no choice but to come out to Jasper. But the good thing about Jasper, Indiana, is it's full of juggalos, so at least there's some homies around, you know what I'm saying? People to talk to, get help, whatever. But the initials, I came up with a bunch of names that was CF, the way that Randall does in Stephen King's universe. And when I met DJ Tech in the Technotarian universe, and she sent me the virtual DJ shit, I took the name DJ Carefree, and then the whole idea, I anyway, when I met Outpost and I met Semper, her being YouTube and Twitch, I was like, oh shit, I know somebody now that's and there's a lot that I missed out in my 20s. And there's a lot that I'm trying to be now for my kids and for me in my 30s before it's too late, before I'm too old. And I can't stop thinking. Anyways, peace. Cheers. Love y'all and take care. This is part 1 of my journal.